Age ain't nothing but a number. Even down ain't nothing but a game. This love that I had for you, it would never change. Good morning, YouTube. I just seen something on Facebook, and it's a girl that she does videos and stuff. Um, I've never seen her. I don't think I've seen her on YouTube, but she does the Facebook thing, like little TikTok videos, or whatever. And she talks about different stuff. I gotta get her name. I'm so horrible with names, but it's a light skinned lady. She was talking about children that's not potty trained and they 5 years old. That's a disorder. There's nothing normal about that. But today I wanted to talk about what I seen today on her Facebook, and she was talking about older men, younger women, and she was talking about the great kid in the family, because when you get 13, 14 years old, you start asking questions. And I remember being in the 8th grade asking my grandma about the family tree, and she told me everything, girl. She told me everything. And I remember I think I told y'all this. My great grandma, they're from St. Kitts, right? And my great grandparents, but my great grandma was 17 when she had her first child. My great granddad was a grown man. Nobody knows his age, but he was older than her. So back in the day, it was very acceptable, older man, younger woman. So this kid that she was talking about, you know, the granddad was 27 and she was in middle school. That was normal back then. Women, I think, I did a whole women's history thing with y'all. We were property. We was in nothing back then. If you was a poor girl, first of all, it was very hard to get a job. Jobs were scarce. You had to literally make up a job. Most people would do babysitting, nanny, wash clothes. That's what you did as a woman to make money for yourself. And some people were very successful. They was washing everybody's clothes and they had a little business, or they would do hair. You had to be very smart and very I feel like my personality, I would have made it happen. My father always says I have the spirit of his grandmother. Now, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So back then it was acceptable, but not every woman took the bullshit. So my great grandma on my father's side, she got divorced. So yeah, that was not the popular thing. But my great grandma on my dad's side got divorced. When her son was grown and in the military, she purchased a house in Crown Heights. The family, my father's side is from down south. My mother's side, her grandparents. Now my great granddad, he was a horrible person. He would do disappearing acts, so obviously he was with other women. Where else he gonna be during the disappearing acts, right? So he used to beat her, and according to my grandma, her father was a hard drinking man. He used to put hands on her mom, and it affected the family so much that my grandma and all her sisters, they were all single. And I think it was because they were affected by that bad marriage so bad. Coincidentally, all of them were single. My grandma was the only one who got married and had children, and then she had 5 sisters. Her other sister, same thing, got married, got separated, and whatever. And then her other sisters were just single, no children. But it was 10 boys and 6 girls. 10 boys and 6 girls. They had a lot of kids back then. Nobody's having 16 kids now. If you have 5 kids, that's considered a lot, But yeah, so it was acceptable back then, and you had your R. Kellys, Now, everybody wasn't with no older man. That's another myth. Or everybody didn't tolerate BS. You did have, like I said, My great grandma on my mom's side, she tolerated abuse and went through it, never worked, and whatever. And then my great grandma on my father's side, she worked. She cleaned houses for white folks. So my great grandma was smart. She didn't just stick to one white person. She went to the different houses to clean. So she had like a little cleaning business, and she would put flyers up and written, "Hey, I clean houses." My great grandma, she was determined, and my father, I always look up to that because I'm sure a lot of people look down on her for getting divorced. Back then, you didn't get divorced, but he wasn't no good. He was making babies all over the place. And so she was like, fuck this. And she went to New York and purchased a home in Crown Heights on Lincoln Place. And she cleaned white people houses. And that was, she had like a little business for herself, and she made a lot of money. And back then they paid a lot. They still pay a lot, you know, they still pay a lot. But yeah, that's what my great grandma did. She made up her job. She was like, you know what, I'm good at something and I'm gonna make money. And that's what she did. And once her son got grown and he was in the military, she purchased a home with the help of him in Crown Heights. And I just wanted to stress that, like, not everybody has a violent story. With some women, yes, they were walking down the street going to school and was picked up by a pedophile. That is a pedophile. Though it was acceptable back in the day, that's what I wanted to say in this video. They knew it was wrong back then. They knew it was wrong, but it was acceptable because of poverty. I wanted to point that out. And that's the comment that I made on the Facebook, is a lot of our grandmothers and great grandmothers, they were in poverty. They didn't finish school. They had limited resources, and this is why they had to stay with no good men. It had nothing to do with love, and yeah, I always let people know, like, when I talk to people, I be like, yo, go ask your grandma, go ask your, I always stress that, because you learn so much from your elders in the family. And before my grandmother passed away, I had the privilege of, that was smart with my teacher, he had the family tree, and she told me all the tea. She told me all about it and what my great grandmother went through. And remarkably, after he passed away, when you look at the picture, she looks so happy. And people always, my great grandmother's legacy, even though she didn't work or whatever, on my mom's side, she was a good mom. Though she got abused, though she went through things, infidelities and stuff like that, she was a good mom. And then on my dad's side too, like, she went through a lot, but she was a good mom. She treated her kids right. So nowadays people make excuses like, oh, well, this person didn't have an outlet. And no, it's no excuse, because both my great grandmothers went through a lot, and they were good moms, and that's their legacy, that they were nice, that they were very loving to not just their children. And that's the legacy I have. That's the spirit I have. And my father always says, I'm just like them. He always says, I'm just like his mom, grandma, and great grandma. Like, I'm very boisterous and very, like, no nonsense, and that's the spirit that's in me. And it's funny because I've never met these wonderful ladies. Only my grandmother, she passed away when I was 17, but I never met my great grandparents or great grandma, or like my dad's mom, but they always say I'm just like them. Yeah, so I speak up for myself. I don't tolerate nonsense. And that's why I ain't married now, because I don't have patience. I don't. And I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, why am I not in a relationship now? I don't have patience. Like, I think for most women, and this is not to throw shade, but most women that are married, I was just thinking about, like, you need a village to raise your husband. Like, for real, right? Like, I'll have another baby before I get with a man that's like incompetent. That would make me kill him. Like, I'm telling you to empty the garbage. I'm telling you to do this and you don't want to do it as a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? I'm cooking. You have a problem with washing dishes. It's over. Like, I'm not tolerating that from no grown ass man. Like, I don't have the patience. I really don't. But for a child, I will. I have a lot of patience for children. I don't have patience for grown ass men that's incompetent. I can't. You know, so, or they could cook and clean. They could do all of that. But then men are just annoying. I'm sorry. Like, I'm always arguing with somebody that's male, you know, like, they just, like, you know. But yeah, like, to be a wife, you have to have a lot of patience. You need more patience with a man than you do a child. Because a child, you know, my son is very responsible. I could really say, like, he don't really stress me too much. But relationships are very stressful, so let alone a marriage. Like, I tip my hat. Anybody that's a wife, I tip my hat to you. You know, people, it's harder than motherhood. I don't care, like, looking from a distance, that shit is harder than motherhood. Because you want to kill a nigga, but you can't. You don't want to get locked up. You want to get locked up? And those are my thoughts.